What's up, everyone? Happy Thursday.
We are so happy to be with you.
We're back. You are listening to Rival and Queen. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah. We love you.
We love you.
We love it.
It's the month of love. It continues.
Oh, we love love.
Short month, but we do love it.
We love love. Actually, we've got many things to talk about because I'm just so amped. We had a beautiful weekend together.
We did.
Here's what I've been thinking of. I haven't told you this yet.
Okay, I can't wait.
But Friday night, you and I went out to dinner.
We did.
And what I love is we had a little date night ourselves.
We did. It was our early Galentine's.
Yes.
But you know what? I'm glad you feel that way. But I was actually thinking that Sarah and I spend a lot of time together. Were you thinking this too?
I was thinking this too.
But we don't sometimes get to spend quality one-on-one if we're not working.
Well, just friendship time, because so much time when we're together, we're working on the podcast.
Or Mark's with us,
or
Jeff's with us, Katie, whoever. There's people, we're always
guests are with us. Yeah,
which we love. But it was really nice to just spend one-on-one time.
Friendship, BFF, date. We had Prosecco.
Beautiful dinner at the brasserie, at Gricula Street Brasserie here in Halifax. And it was so cozy in there. It was beautiful.
I've been thinking about this since that I wasn't thinking that when we were going there.
We need to make more one-on-one time.
More dates. I was just thinking how much I value our friendship, how much I love you, and what a beautiful night we had. And I was like, this is I want more friend dates where we're not working, we're just being besties.
I love that. I'm glad you felt that way too.
So beautiful. Happy Valentine's Day, belated.
And we also have a new idea to level up our gal hang. We want to get a hotel room, matching pajamas.
Yeah. Prosecco.
Get a good buzz on, I feel because we don't have to go anywhere.
I don't even know if I care about the buzz on. I want to be in those I just
want to be so happy.
I want to be in a tub, and then I want to be in the robes next to you on the bed, watching TV and drinking Prosecco. And I feel like delivery pizza.
I was thinking delivery pizza. I was thinking definitely order in. We're not doing any food.
There's going to be no makeup on me. We're not going anywhere.
We can do masks.
Give me all the masks.
I'm thinking there's the Sutton Place Hotel. There's one here in Halifax, which is beautiful. But the room our friend stayed in was lovely. It was huge, but it didn't have a bathtub. So I'm making this. Yeah, we need a bathtub. So
when we call them, we have to be we need a room with a bathtub. We're coming for the bath. Or that. I mean, I want the bath. You have a beautiful bath.
But I feel you. You can.
I don't have a bath.
Stay in the tub for hours.
That's what I was thinking about last night. The other thing I want to tell you about is this week I had. First of all, thank God I'm still alive. Someone is vying to take over.
He's right next to us
as the co-host for Rival and Queen. Listen, Mark and I were handsome together this week,
but he's dangerous.
And he tried to kill me. Okay, he didn't.
This is Mark's
an accident happened. And it's just very funny. So it was a very funny story. So Mark and I went skiing together. And actually, I've been so excited to go skiing with him because it's always fun to ski with your friends. And we've never skied together. And we had a fun day. He knows Wentworth, where we went much better than I do. So he was taking me through some trees and stuff. Anyways, just our last run in the morning before we go for lunch, we're coming down full force. And a collision between Mark and I occurred. And one of us, being me, didn't fare as well as the other. I mean, it was a 100% accident. He did not do anything. Nothing intentional happened, but I've been spinning this as him trying to take me out to take over Rival and Queen with you and push me out.
What?
But I did hit head first on the ground. So helmets, always wear a helmet. I just PSA. But thank God to my osteopath, I hopped in to see him the next morning, got me all fixed up, and now I'm back ready to ski again.
That's an adventure.
But I just want to put on the record, because if Mark and I ever go anywhere else again together and I get injured again, I just think we should be keeping note of these things.
Okay. Running tab. Poor Mark.
No, he's looking at. Anyways, we love Mark. I'm just teasing. It was a very funny accident, but I'll tell you, I haven't fallen skiing in years, and I fell head first. It was shocking.
Oh, not good.
But it was also funny because I'll tell you, not a ski or pole left on me. My skis and my poles were 10 feet up the hill. It was funny. I mean, I'm okay.
That's good. I'm glad you're okay. And I feel like skiing is kind of dangerous. You have to be careful.
Yeah. Well, choose your ski partners wisely.
Oh my gosh. So
Mark, I love you.
We've got some exciting things. We're not going to maybe say what they are, but there's some exciting things coming up in the month of March.
Yes.
The month of March.
The month of March.
Soon. This
Yeah.
month's flying by. It's a short month.
We're excited. There's lots of stuff happening with the podcast. I feel like there's good vibes up there. And
Good vibes.
we've been jumping on all the creative ideas that are coming up. So we
And
got
they're
some,
coming.
yeah, more and more and more. And actually, we're on the High Button podcast this week too, which is kind of fun.
Mhm. With Justin Belanger. He was on episode 69. I'll never forget that.
Episode 69 of Rival and Queen.
Just
That'll
a
be
few
fun
ago.
to do a little swap with him.
I know. He should watch out.
You know, we've got some treats for Justin actually. When we go to the studio with him, we're bringing him Cinnamon Toast Crunch because he talked about it on our podcast. So we thought it'd be a fun little gift.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. We'll share that on our social channels, social media channels.
Speaking of upcoming creativity, our guest today,
Oh, so creative.
so into the
That's
creativity.
basically what we talked about at the beginning.
And here's what I love. So we have Mariah Pelley-Smith on, who has done Reiki for me. She's the only person I've actually ever seen for Reiki. I really love her. She's got a beautiful energy. And that's how we connected. But she has been growing her business so much over the past year since kind of COVID set in, and she has been practicing, face to face. And one of the things that she talked about a lot today is this idea of like devotion to our creativity and where we're being called. And I when she said the word devotion, I got like chills.
Yeah, you liked that.
I love that
I haven't,
word.
you're right.
Oh,
But she does so much: coaching, graphic design, readings,
Reiki. And her new big thing is Kundalini. She's very big into Kundalini yoga. And that was really what we wanted to learn a ton about today. So yeah, over the past year, it's kind of crazy. Her business, Mariah International Business and Vitality, has gone from just her to having like a team of 5 in just a few months. And it's, yeah, like you said, she's following all of these creative pulls, and she crazy.
Yeah, and I've never done the yoga. I only heard about it when you wanted to talk to Mariah and kind of opening up that door, but about how you can kind of like clear your past out. It's really big in mantras, which I didn't know. So that's kind of where it's different than, there's so many different branches of yoga, but you're kind of constantly repeating these mantras, and they're really embedded in your practice. And that's pretty much the biggest part of it, when you say.
Well, I think what's really cool about Kundalini, is it bridges that, as Mariah talks about, the esoteric and the scientific side, then like brings them both together. So you get this really deep, like spiritual work happening as you're doing it. And a lot of it is through like the mantras and using your voice.
And she shares some really good tips on things you can do that are really within reach in your own daily routine for like 3 minutes, 10 minutes. That one, I'll just drop this cliffhanger here.
Give us, I don't know. We don't know words.
What is the cat-cow pose, and how she explains how you can use that in a more, the breathing is really the biggest part of it, kind of like connecting to drum up some of those same experiences that you would in a Kundalini practice.
Yeah, so the practices are
word. Kundalini.
The practices are super accessible, as she says in the podcast. Like, you can do this in 3 minutes. So that's one of the reasons she loves this. And for me, that's one of the reasons I've been drawn to this. Like, I really like it. I love the breath work. I love the chanting. It just makes you feel refreshed. But like, again, as with so many things, I have no idea what I'm doing. I just do them because they feel good.
That's
so it's cool to learn about them.
You were drawn to it. Anyway, super cool episode. We definitely learned a lot, and now I kind of want to explore some of these things just to see if there's a difference.
Together, we could do one together.
Sure. She's got lots of different courses online. One you just said, I looked at her calendar for the next few weeks. There's a few other ones, so you can check those out at mariahpellysmith.com.
We'll tag everything in the show notes, and you can connect with her on Instagram at mariah.pellysmith, and a few other handles, which we'll tag. Before we dive in, I just want to tell you something funny, because the last few weeks we've been struggling with the word publicity, and then we just fumbled another word. But today,
which one? My brain goes too fast.
No, but today I was out for brunch with our friend Dave, and he was talking about these ribs he was going to make, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go home and make these jalicious ribs. And I was like, jalicious? And he's like, yeah, jalicious. And then his face just fell.
Was it not a word?
He meant to say juicy and delicious,
yeah, but
and slammed it together, and then was like, burst out laughing. He's like, I don't know why my brain said that twice.
I know. And you know what? I have dyslexic tendencies sometimes that I take, and I think this is pretty common, but not ever. If you don't do it, then it's not familiar, obviously. But I'll take the first letter of one word and the first letter of another word, and I switch the letters sometimes, or I switch the words completely of like the order, and I don't even notice it. My husband always picks it out, and he's like, what did you mean? And I'll repeat it again. So I don't know.
We just,
we love publicity.
We love publicity. And we also love Mariah. She's got this crazy wild energy. She's bringing it all to us. She's awesome. Love it.
She is so beautiful. Yeah, this is a great episode. We hope you enjoy. Let's do it. We are so happy to have Mariah joining us in the Rival and Queen studio today. Welcome, Mariah.
Hello. You have such the perfect voice for this.
It's these microphones.
They make us sound, well, sometimes
professional. They make it sound all sorts of ways. That's thanks to Mark. We're so happy to have you here. I know you guys have a bit of a history together and have met several times through some treatments.
Yeah, I've gotten, Mariah's not allowed to say anything, but I don't care. So I'll just say it. She's given
and
me reiki.
I know everything about Sarah.
Yeah, so many times. And I think I share like many of the experiences I have. And so I'm happy to speak freely about them. But yeah, that's how I met Mariah, which has been awesome originally. And then we reconnected just a few weeks ago. So it's great to have you here.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you guys met through Reiki, but kind of what do people need to know about what you do?
So I always introduce myself as I'm a multifaceted, very complex human being, as most entrepreneurs are. I'd say one of the things that's most important about me is that I see the world very differently. So I see it through a very magical and vibrant lens. Even with the things that's going on in the world right now, I still see the beauty and in the growth that everything is sort of moving through naturally. And my journey to where I am now has been really intense but brilliant, and has made me figure out who I am as a human,
as a being,
a being, and totally. What I'm supposed to bring to the world. And I've brought a next level of devotion to the things that I bring in the world. And that's why I'm like saturating the internet with everything, because I love creation and I'm a very creative human. And one of my favorite poems that I wrote, it's called Creativity is the New Currency. And I can see the direct relation of every time I ooze myself into a creation, the prosperity and the connection and the relationships that fall from that. So everything that I put online, it's just like there's embedded, healing frequencies through my sound or symbols, or just the way that imagery is there. I wanted to hit people. I want them to feel something. So
that's so cool. I feel like you're a healer in so many facets. And I love that you brought up this creativity thing, because I've been feeling that too. And I've been seeing it through certain people. It's like this idea that almost by creating it, there's so much healing going on for you and for others when you're creating in that way. It's such a cool vibe. I don't know. I'm into it.
Because you're essentially moving energy through your system. So when we create, we're allowing that free flow. So the people that are all like tensed up all the time and you can feel that stagnancy in their space, it's because they're resisting that creative flow that's trying to move through. And there's people in the world that say that I'm not creative, but like literally everything in this room is a creation. So we are all creators.
You say that.
I say that all the time because I think I always felt for a long time I wasn't creative. And then I finally realized, like, okay, I hate this story. It's not true. And then also when I think about entrepreneurs and people building businesses, and I had this conversation with Mark just a few days ago, I'm like, these are the most creative people in the world. Like, are you kidding me? You're figuring out how to make something from literally nothing. But yet we hold this, like many entrepreneurs, I think, and like business oriented people hold this story that they aren't creative. But I'm like, you bring things to life that didn't exist. Like that's incredible.
Like you think creativity is sometimes in a box of you have to be a painter.
Art,
yeah. Oh, I like that. And when you're saying people have that energy that they're holding back from creating, it could be anything, right? Not even business oriented. Like, I just want to coloring person.
Build a shelf. Like it could be anything.
Cooking. Yeah. I was so excited to get you on here because we met originally through Reiki, but now you've been doing so much more work around. I've been seeing you've been changing and growing kind of all of your offerings, and you're doing a ton right now around Kundalini yoga. And I've been super curious about this. And so when we reconnected, I was just so amped up to hear about the new things that you're working on, because you have gone from really focusing physically on having a Reiki practice to you're doing a ton of design work now. You're doing some yoga stuff. Tell us about what has grown in, what have you been growing into?
So when we were working together in that practitioner relationship, I was low key doing design for different companies and things, but it wasn't on the forefront. Mm-hmm. So I was making that that transition of saying, "Hello world, we do this too." I think when we fall into a practice, there's some part of us that feels like we're cheating on the practice if we do other things. Mm-hmm. But as I got deeper in the practice, it's no, this is something that adds and amplifies everything in my life. So when I brought everything onto the forefront, everything sort of exploded, because I do graphic design, and I do web design, and I do coaching, and I do strategy, and I do logistics, and I do event planning, and I do video creation, and all of these things, and of course my Kundalini and my Reiki. And now the business went from me being a sole proprietor and practitioner, but now we're incorporated Mariah International Business and Vitality with 4 team members. So it's a totally different vibe.
Well, and this is we're talking about a year, right? Basically, of that growing from just your business being you to now being a team.
Just September.
Okay.
Just September,
really recent.
Yeah.
Shit, that's awesome.
Because I was doing everything. We were doing all these things.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing all these things, and the moment I had the team, then it just boom, it just exploded. And now we're working with people all over the world, and it's a totally different different way of life. I'm waking up and I'm what's going on?
You're in it.
That's a fun journey to be on.
Okay, I didn't think the conversation was going to go here, but I just didn't think of it. But now I do want to talk about this, because I think there's such, everyone's
thinking, what
everyone's laughing. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, yeah. No, I think there's such power right now in leaning into these things that maybe aren't on your path that you've dreamt up for yourself. And as you're talking about, I was doing my Reiki practice, and I almost felt like I was cheating on that business by starting to lean into design. I think this is an important conversation right now, because you're seeing more and more people getting curious about new things, whatever's going on in the world. And this is what I'm going through too. It's and I felt that leaving the tech world and starting to work on a new project that had nothing to do with technology, you have that nervousness. Just let's talk about it. What do you think's going on? Because I think it's empowering to lean into these things.
I think so. My perception of what's going on is all the systems we're, Piscean age prior to this Aquarian energy that's moving on the planet. So prior to right now, all these systems were the safe zone. But now all these systems are literally dismantling, and all the transparency of 2020 intense for everyone. So all the things that people wrap their identities around don't necessarily exist in the same way. So people are trying to latch onto things that are different, but there's new consciousness, this new awareness that I need to latch into things that actually serve me, things that actually make me feel alive, and not holding to things, because you can't trust the things that people tell you to do anymore, because that facade is gone.
Right.
So now it's the only thing that I can trust, the things that I actually like.
Yeah, and I think that's also, one of the blessings of being stuck inside this year and having things that you relied on to keep you happy taken away, is you're forced to find things that truly make you happy, on your own.
And things maybe you put off for years or decades that whether it's that shelf or whatever it is that you might have time for, and maybe you realize that brings you so much joy, more than you would have expected.
Totally. Anyways, this was just a tangent.
I'm with you,
but I'm just I'm vibing on the direction you've gone on, and I think it's so important for people if they're on the fence about doing things. So just now's the time. Give it a whirl.
Yeah, March 2020, when it was just I was at the Flow Center.
Yeah.
And I was during that, probably the beginning or the end of February, I was I need to get out of here because it was great humans, great space, but I couldn't do full classes of things. I couldn't teach my yoga. I couldn't do the things because I didn't have space there.
Right.
But, I was just like, bless Libby's heart. She wants me to stay.
Yeah.
Shout out the ones that you're listening to later. And I remember actually going to her office and I was like planning on being like, I'm leaving. But I literally couldn't because I could see her like feeling me like pulling back. So I couldn't. And then within a couple of weeks, it was like, you can't come in because we're closed because of COVID. And I was like,
No,
It all worked out.
yeah.
and it's funny those moments because we all have those feelings. It's like you love that person, you care about them, you appreciate everything they've given you, and you feel like you're betraying them in some way. And like you're not. You have to do what's right for you. But I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
feeling. Like I know I need to do this, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah. It felt like I was jumping off a cliff in some place because I was running all of my different services out of there.
Right.
So then it was just like, then as we moved into the spring, like literally I was doing lives every day from all these different types of intuitive trainings and yoga and I did a bunch of different business courses that I've never ran before and I did really well and we kept going and going and going. And so I would transition from doing some things online, but not like fully, but then like now I have a whole platform built out with you experience and now it's like a totally different thing where I can literally just live with everything online. So it's great.
Which is awesome.
The way of the world. So can you tell us a little bit about Kundalini yoga? I know Sarah did some with you last night through one of your programs, but how is it different than regular yoga? I mean, there's so many types of yoga.
Yeah. I would say Kundalini yoga is something that people are drawn to when they want to merge that analytical scientific mind and their esoteric mind into one, because it honors the scientific of like the glandular system and your nervous system, the way your pineal gland is secreting. It shows you that with science of what's actually happening within your system. But then you also get to experience that esoteric version of your life where you actually understand what your aura is. You actually can feel the different chakras moving in different ways. And there's a direct correlation of when I do these things, what's happening internally. It's like I can feel every cell. I can see how the blood's moving in my body. You build a really good relationship with your body. And then your health increases and you can see how that's reflecting in your external life, like so apparently. And like the teachings around this practice, it's prosperity, there's business, there's how to parent your children, there's just how to fall into devotion and sacred practices. And it's very physical. So you have your physical movement, you have your prana, you have your meditation, you have your mantra, and weaving all those things together in a at the same time, it also creates a complexity within your own mind. So there's a lot of meditation specific for intelligence, specific for prosperity. There's different kriyas that do specific things for your body. So any ailment or anything that's wrong with you, there's a kriya for that. And you do those things. And I've been doing this for almost over 2 years now. And I've never been as healthy as I am now. I thought I was healthy with Reiki, but this is this next level because you're using your body so much.
Right.
So my understanding and what I'm experiencing with the Kundalini yoga, it's like my body is so strong with these different movements and stuff that I'm doing all the time that now my body can hold the energy and the destiny and the thing that I'm trying to ground into this world. So if your body isn't strong, it can't hold the energy. If your nervous system isn't stretched to its full capacity, you can't hold the energy of what you're trying to ground fully. So there's always going to be fragments missing to your creation.
I think that when you're saying that, like I can feel that so much right now. And because we talked about this before we started recording, but I had been drinking the last few weeks because I am like creating right now and bringing a new project to life. And that was just becoming a distraction. Not that I drank much, but it was even like one glass of wine in the evening was like messing up when I wanted to create and how things were coming through. So I understand that like grounding practice, you need like your full energy to be focused inside your body and have the strength to bring things to life. That's so cool.
So when I'm hearing, that's a lot of information. It sounds so cool. So when I'm thinking of this versus just like a regular yoga practice, whatever, let's just say basic, is it the movements and the breathing that are just so different from kind of like traditional?
Well, there's many limbs of yoga, and Kundalini yoga sort of brings all of those limbs together. And it also, like this type of yoga, everyone can do it, but not everyone necessarily obviously is going to enjoy it, because it works a lot with the subconscious. It's very specific in working with the subconscious mind. So it's to reprogram your brain on a daily basis. You're always cleansing out these old thoughts. So sometimes I'm like, who am I anymore? Because all those things have left, and then I'm experiencing a new version of myself from a third perspective all the time. So it's a new way that you're experiencing life on a consistent basis. So you're kind of going through this active and intentional deathing process of those old things. But that also makes your emotional body really strong, because you can handle the leaving of that.
Right. So it is much more spiritual, like
That's what I was
spiritually
just thinking.
engaged. Yeah.
It's not just more so for strengthening, stretching, exercise. It's like you're going deeper into
And it's very heavy in mantra. So and the mantras are very specific in what they do. They're like really, really, really old. Like they're like the beginning of time. They're channeled through these masters from different realms. They're just like very specific. And doing the mantras, like you get, I can't even know how to explain this. It's like when you're doing mantras, when we did 31 minutes, if you can concentrate in that 31 minutes of that mantra in the movement, you like inside the mantra, you kind of get lost. And that's when things can now leave, because you're not attached to reality. You're experiencing this detachment from things on a consistent basis. So that allows flow and movement in your life to be more pronounced, because you're not so attached to things you're practicing in that meditation, and you can bring that into your life. And one of the things that I like to do, so with this Kundalini, we always do our tune in Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, and that connects you with all the teachers and all the masters and opens up the channel, because the whole point of the Kundalini is to bring up the Kundalini energy through your system. And there's a lot of information about like, oh, well, if you bring up the Kundalini, your life is going to change and you're going to die and all this stuff. But the whole point of the
Are we going to die? I mean,
no.
I don't think that is.
It's a little extreme. But people don't understand that the whole point of the practice is preparing you so that you can hold the Kundalini raised in the body on a consistent basis. And that's where the consciousness is coming from. And in these mantras, it's like you want to fall in love with your own voice. And I say that a lot. It's like mantra is really powerful when it's coming from a certain singer, because they have it at a certain frequency. But when you used to start to say mantra, it's doing a deeper cleanse within your own system. Because I'm a different person than I was 2 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, because of these mantras, because of the subconscious clearing that's happening on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, because I think you're mentioning all these things, and I joked before we started, like I just do things that I don't understand them, but you're right. Like the Kundalini yoga, it's much more physical than other yogas. Like it's exerting. You do physically exert yourself, but it is much more spiritual. Like it brings up much more within you while you're practicing. And yeah, I'm realizing like what a big piece the mantras are. And sorry, are the mantras in Kriyas the same thing?
So Kriyas is it's a set of certain exercises that do a specific thing.
Okay.
So for example, there's this P set that we do. So this is a really good time to do it for February and March. And it's a lot of like tribal movements and breath of fire. You do this sort of sequence, and then you have like a relaxation at the end, and it's resetting your entire metabolism. And then you only eat foods that start with a P. So like you're eating a lot of like fruit and things just that have a lot of fiber, and things move through the system.
Cool.
So that you're really refreshed for the spring. So that's like a certain Kriya, because you have to do it in that specific order, and it can be either the full time, or you can cut the time in half. Yeah, and then the mantra is just the specific, like Om Namo Guru Dev Namo is a mantra.
Right.
So are you just repeating, you said 31 minutes. Are you repeating a mantra?
Yeah,
for everyone out there that might be wondering more about this, are you setting a mantra for everyone?
Yeah,
and then
so
you're repeating it to yourself for this.
So I had the music playing. We were going, what were we doing? Wahe Guru, Wahe Guru, Wahe Guru, Wahe GL. We did that for 31 minutes.
But everyone's doing it individually, or is everyone kind of
We're all saying it at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
For 31 minutes.
Yeah.
I did it last night. There was a 14-minute one right before too.
So if people wanted to start, like I could do it for a 10. Can you do it for a shorter amount of time, or is it not effective?
These are so depending on the meditation, they're very specific. So say you want to do your intelligence meditations, minimum 6 minutes, because there's different positioning that you have to do with your fingers, for example. If you want to do, I don't know, if you want to do the one that we did last night, so we did clear your past partners. So we have our fingers in front, and we go hud, 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 hud. So you do that minimum 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we went through all the arc lines and things.
Did it work, Sarah? Did you cleanse any past lovers?
So here's what I'm going to tell you. We talked about this last night. I mean, why not? Let's talk about it all. I share everything here. So we did, a 14-minute meditation, then a 31, and I had 2 kind of big clearings come through while I was doing them. I can't remember one of them, but I'm going to just start with this one. Maybe it'll come to me. So one of them was around independence. And actually, and it's very funny because that's been a theme for me this year, but it was actually around letting go of my need to be independent and it actually being safe for me to kind of be in a true partnership, or like not depend on someone, but let go of my need to be so independent. So that was like a really weird clearing I was not expecting at all, but it just like came through. It felt awesome. And I can't for the life of me remember what the other one was, but that was like a really big one that I felt when we were doing this. Yeah. So I thought that was neat. Like stuff comes up and like the 31 minutes seems long, but it's not once you get going. And like you're moving your arms. Your arms.
Why I grew.
Yeah. So cool. I need to try it.
But I did it again today for 3 minutes. Yeah. Keep
Stay
going.
connected. Stay connected with it. Have you always been a spiritual person? Like when did this come up for you? Was it when you were younger?
So the always a little story that I say when people are like, how did you go into the thing? So I was like a very intuitive child, and I always drew like crazy psychedelic pictures when I was a kid, but I didn't know what they were connected
like
to.
They would just come to you?
I was like obsessive over like notebooks and notebooks and notebooks. And then I was like also like go hard fashion designer at like 8 years old, so I have all of these drawings of clothes but with the designs on them. And there's a point, I think it was like 13, it's like you have to be an adult now, or you have to like transition into not believing in whatever. So then I remember the moment where everything started turning gray, like it just felt like all my senses started to turn off. And then I was kind of like the living dead for the next like I guess 10 years or so. I did all the things, and I went to business school, got the marks, did all the things, but I was still like, this is not doing it for me. Something needs to happen here. So then when I moved to Halifax, I was dabbling in some yoga, but I wasn't really connected to it. And then when I moved here, I went to this purple house on Windsor, and it was called the Center for a very long name after that. And there's a bunch of crystals and stuff in the little shop. There was a bunch of different practitioners there. And I met my teacher for Reiki, Austin Ha. He's hithering in BC right now. And he's like, do you want to do these classes or whatever? And I was like, yeah, we'll try them out. So I started doing his Kundalini yoga. But it was the craziest stuff. Like he just came from like somewhere land, like doing the craziest bends and things, like stuff you see in books. You're like, is that even possible? Like he was doing that in front of me. I was like, what's even going on? I can't do that.
You were like, my legs will not bend this way.
How are you?
But like the way his energy moved through his body and his presence, like even now I'm still in awe of his presence. And I was just like, I trust you more than I trust anyone in my life, and I don't know why.
Right.
So it's just like, oh well, I'll just come and do these classes, and one day maybe I'll be flexible. I don't know. So so I did that, and then he asked me, "Did you want to get your Reiki level 1?" I said, "I don't know what that means."
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna look like you. So, so I went to the class, and I still don't know what was really going on. I know we had manuals and talking about energy. I was like, whatever. I'm like, okay, we'll do the thing. And then it was October, and I had my bare feet in the snow. Just, okay, let's get it tuned on this fancy chair. So he opens up my channel, does all the things that you need to do in order to do the attunement. And then when I opened my eyes, it was like, I could just see all these balls of light, and all my senses turned on. Cool. Like everything was just heightened, and I was just like, it felt like I was like reborn again. And I was just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
something just happened.
Wow.
So then there's 3 other people for that attunement class. And I just remember like seeing this like purple orb of energy like moving around the room. And like, I was just like, whatever this is, I need to learn more about this. And then I like, from that day, I was just like, let's just go hard and learn everything and practice. And then, you know, I got my level 2 and I moved into my mastership and then I became a teacher. And just that, again, that devotion, because I had nothing else to cling to. I had nothing else that was going to save me. So I was like, this is the thing that makes me feel alive. So I'm just going to trust that, even though like I can't see it, but I can feel it. And that's what I was looking for, just to feel something.
Well,
That's so cool. If now I'm thinking about if other people are kind of feeling in that same position, maybe they're feeling gray or they're not feeling like alive. They don't meet that guy that you met. Like, how can someone kind of connect to that same thing that you experienced when you were with him in yoga?
I think the biggest thing about making that transition in general, because there's so many different practices that you can fall into. I think it's just being open to something that I can't see, something that is unknown can like save me essentially. Something that I can't see or that I don't know can bring me into those places. But it's just this trust in something outside of ourselves, and that can be scary because most people have control issues. So we have to release some control because our experience as a human being is a co-creation.
Right.
It's not us. You know, we're somewhat in the driver's seat, but the universe can be like, sorry, we're not doing that today. So it's there's this mutual trust that has to happen.
Well, and I like what you said about like trusting the unknown, because you can feel it when something feels empowering, you know, even if you can't, like you say, see the path of how it's going to unfold, you can trust that. Oh, so good. I want to talk a little bit more about how Kundalini impacts us, because you said like there are these specific kriyas to do certain things. So like, what are some of the benefits of it? Like, how can it, as you kind of touched on, like raise your consciousness or
so one of the ones, sort of like the one that I like to recommend if you're just beginning. So for example, everyone knows what cow is, hopefully. So doing that for specific three minutes with a deep breath resets the glandular system.
Cool.
So if you do that, like I've heard many stories of people that I know that just doing 3 minutes of cat-cow, resetting the glandular system, that just changes the whole vibration, the whole way of your operating in your life. I'm doing that for every day for 3 months or a year. Like that just changes the game. So if you just do that, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, you feel really, really good. And you throw in some mantra, amazing. And then there's another one called the intelligence meditation. So this is a esoteric, but also a scientific thing that happens within the brain. So we have our fingers, and this finger is a Jupiter finger, and then the middle finger is a Saturn finger. So we have the energy of the planets in our system. So when we activate these different fingers through mudras, so different hand movements, then we activate that energy more potently in our system. And because of all the conjunctions that are happening in the space right now, it's a really good time to do this meditation. Cool. So the intelligence meditation, what you're doing is you're taking your thumb over these bottom 2 and you're hitting these 2 together. So this is the first position.
It's hard to do.
Oh.
So you're doing this for the first position, and then the second position is inhale through the nose, exhale. So you're doing that. And for those 1 and 2, you're imagining Jupiter and Saturn hitting each other. And if you can focus on that point where those planets are touching, oh my goodness. And then the third one is where you have it, keep it open, and you do an O breath. That really gets the oxygen in the brain, and you feel like high after, but then it's like a reset. It's just like, if you're fatigued, it just resets the whole brain, and then you have your second win. So like,
so you need to do this every day.
So you do that one. So you do the first rotation for, like, if you want to do a short set, do that for 3 minutes, and then the inhale, exhale for 2 minutes, and then the for a minute. But if you want to do the full extent, you do 8 minutes of the first one, and then 2 minutes in one.
That's really good to know, because it seems like, 8 minutes, less than 10 minutes. If you're feeling stressed or you're feeling whatever, you can kind of
refocus.
Yeah. If I can feel energized after doing a few things like that in 8 minutes.
Yeah. Like that's what I love about this technology. You can do these such short, kriyas and meditations, and it just resets the whole system, because this is a householder's yoga. So you don't have to do 2-3 hours a day to get the benefit. You can sit down for 11 minutes, 3 minutes, because it's for people that have businesses. It's for people that are mothers and that are running busy lives. So I literally run my day. Like I do my tune in, I'll do a practice, I'll have a team meeting, we'll do a little bit of set together, then I'll, do a live, and then I'll have a meeting, and then I'll go do some more yoga. And then, so it's very flowy. So instead of like, oh, I have to go do my, it's too much on the mind of like, I have to commit to this, because most people's problem is like they don't have a discipline or they can't commit. But I'm just like 3 minutes, it's gonna be fun.
You can do 3 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially when you see that benefit.
And I love cat cow. My osteo actually always recommends. She's like, I guess I have like a tight spine or something in back. So she says that's such a good way. So other than people doing those kind of exercises and movements at home, how could people start doing Kundalini yoga?
How can they start?
Yeah.
Well, there's the Google. There's also me. I have free resources on my platform, Kundalini. It's embodiedwealth.ca, but Kundalini with Mariah, I have like videos and pretty ass PDFs of how to do all the things.
They're very colorful. Or your Instagram's so colorful.
And I would say, don't force yourself to like take on the whole thing, because when you look into it, there's like hundreds and hundreds of kriyas and meditations and mantras and mudras. So it just find something that you connect to and do that. So there's certain meditations and mantras that I really love because they affect something different in my body. So one of the things or mantras that I love is Hada 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 Makande. I love that because there's a earthiness to it. There's a breathingness in it. And when we say mantra aloud, it's for the external, and when we whisper, it's for the beloved. So it's for the soul that we're trying to bring on, or for our partners. We're honoring that relationship through that whisper. And then when we say mantra internally, it's for ourselves. So there's one that we do where it's had hade hadi wa he guru, but then we whisper had hade hadi wa he guru. It's a totally different vibe. So it's like it's like this sensual connection piece.
And you kind of just figure out which one feels good for yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
I love that. Yeah. And I think, as you're saying, like there's so many different parts to Kundalini. And so it's like you do want a guide or like a practice. Like you want to learn from someone, I think.
Yeah. It is important that you're doing the movements properly and the position properly, and you're sitting up straight, and you're people are always like, what if I can't pronounce the mantra correctly? And of course you want to, like what we're saying, like one of the things that's used a lot is HUD. So it's it's written out as HAR, but it's pronounced HUD. So you want to make sure that you're doing that correctly. And there's it's very scientific in the way that you're pronouncing things. So when I go HUD, I'm hitting the top of my palate because that's stimulating the pineal gland, and that's creating secretion, and that's helping with consciousness and resetting the system. So there's so many things that are happening. Right. So I would start with things that are very basic, and of course there's a horror of things on the internet, but definitely find a teacher on the YouTube or whatever that you connect to that can guide you. I follow a lot of Guru Jagat. She's very honest and transparent about everything, and there's not this like hierarchy of like I'm here and you're here. Just like no, these are the technology that everyone needs to use.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, and I love your classes and even the free resources you have online, and your classes that you do are super nice. You do a great job at explaining what they're for. And yeah, I think you can find things that you do like. If there's something in particular you want to explore or work on, there's lots of resources online. Yeah. We'll link everything to your site and stuff like that so people can follow along as well.
I think just one other meditation would be the addiction meditation. So everyone's addicted to something, whether it's sugar.
I'm loving the sugar lately as I down some Prosecco and orange juice.
Whether it's sugar or people or situations like or devices, drama or social media, or just like, maybe you're addicted to being late to things, or maybe you're addicted to being way too early, or I don't know. People like are can be addicted to anything. So what this addiction meditation, what it does, it like removes the subconscious things that you sort of latched onto, so it pulls those things out. And one of the things I really love about this Kundalini is one of the sayings is we're just trying to get to a new location. So you don't necessarily have to sift through 18 years of why you did the thing.
Right.
You can just choose to be in a new location and everything will sort of alt delete. So the subconscious clearance and alt delete instead of sitting on a couch for however long, just redishing the thing.
Through.
And then you're just grounding that reality consistently. So you're just getting you into a new location where those habits don't exist.
Oh, I love that. It is very much like this tool to up level our consciousness. And like you said, that's so beautifully where we want to go rather than having to go back through all the,
it's like, let me just drive down the street first before I'm going to go to the house and then moving up over there. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, just go forward.
Yes.
Oh, so nice.
It reminds me of our
I love
episode, as you guys are talking, I'm laughing in my mind, when we had Laura Dawn on talking about microdosing and mushrooms, psychedelics, because that helped kind of those things help reprogram your mind. I'm like, okay, if people don't want to do this seems like another great way to kind of to remove those things from
remove the
yourself.
stories that are blocking you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, maybe they go hand in hand. I don't know.
I gotta tell you, last night I had so many ideas when we finished and like just big up levelings. And yeah, like even just lifestyle changes and stuff that came up for me. It was really cool. The ideas get flowing. It's crazy. 1 hour and it was like I was like 1,000 things came out of my mind. It was
So imagine if you did it more often.
Well, listen, I did my
Stay
3
tuned,
minutes
everyone.
today. I'll be doing it again tomorrow. Mariah, before we wrap, where can everyone find you?
So MariahPelley-Smith.com, Mariah.Pelley-Smith on the Instagram. I also have a dedicated Kundalini yoga page, so it'll be Mariah.Kundalini yoga. And if you want any more information, it's just info@MariahPelley-Smith.com.
Awesome. We'll link to all of those things. Last but not least,
Yeah, we ask all of our guests this question before we play our crazy game that we've made up. But what's lighting you up right now?
What's lighting me up? There's so many changes happening right now. And one of my, I think I mentioned this on the call that we had, but one of my clients is being on one of the biggest platforms for Kundalini yoga, and she sent me the photos for her photo shoot, and we were gonna FaceTime you while we did it because she's in the States, and I was like, how come you didn't FaceTime me when this is happening? So I'm just seeing her. I've never been this excited for like another Kundalini yoga teacher starting sort of their thing because we have such a good relationship, and I'm just so excited for her journey because it's like people that are in your sphere, where they are, it's where you're going.
right? Ooh.
So it's just like it's beautiful
Like feeling that.
to see that and that growth and just all of these new contracts and things that are coming to space. Everything that I was just like, I'm not sure why we're doing this, but we're gonna do it. Everything
Right.
is perfectly lining up in a way that I've always dreamed of. So I'm just sort of really trying to ground in this new reality that I've created and just allow that to move through my system, because I've recently moved and I've never had this many people in my home before, but I'm always like, we're just doing classes and like team things, and it's like beautiful just to have so many people in the space, because one of the things about our homes, especially as a practitioner, the most sacred thing you can do for your home is to give in your home. So that sacredness increases when you're giving gifts like that in your own space.
Cool.
Love that.
Cool.
I love that was your what's lighting you up. That was so great.
I know, so many bouts of wisdom. I also really appreciate you talking about the idea of devotion and like, oh, I've never heard that word in so long. It just feels so good being devoted to yourself. Love that. Okay, the last thing we have to do is play a round of Queenie Grams.
Okay.
Very serious. So just focus in as much as you can right now. As Ashley said, a made up game, very simple. Pick a number between 1 and 100, and we'll ask you a question. We'll all do one.
Okay. 88.
88. Let's see. What's one habit you wish you could drop?
One habit. It actually came through from one of the meditation last night for me. It's similar to you about this whole being independent thing. So I'm trying to live in more ease than trying to allow things to move in the way that I want them to move.
Right.
So I guess the habit is like, just let's try to control things and just let things to move the way they want.
So cool. Love that. How about you? Do you have any habits?
Yeah. I'm just like really.
Do you want to share them or no?
No, because I'm thinking, I'm like, which ones do I want to disclose here? I'm a very particular person about things. I don't know about those habits. Like I'm very, like if I take something out,
Same vibe.
Yeah, it's, I don't know how to explain it. And sometimes it drives me crazy, but at the same time, I kind of like it.
All right, well, you just sit with that question. We don't have to answer
But it
right now.
probably drives other people crazy.
Why don't you pick a number? We'll get you a new one.
83.
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to say in the 80s too. What's the best concert you've ever been to? You can answer this one too.
That's a tough one. Okay, two are coming to mind. I went to Thomas Rhett about a year and a half ago in Florida. Favorite concert. But I also saw Jay-Z and Beyonce outside at Gillette Stadium in the most beautiful summer night a few years ago. So like that's a tiebreaker. I love both of those. And I mean, who wouldn't die to go in public in a concert right now?
Put me in a crowd, 10, 20, 30, 50,000 people. Nowhere else I'd rather be. Right? How about you? What's the best concert you've ever been to?
Local, Toronto Open Heart at the Carlton. It was like his song is very devotional. His songs are very intentional. It's like it's literally a healing when he sings. And I remember, like, I was like, "Did you just open my heart chakra right now?" Like, that's literally what it felt like.
I feel that way when I hear Thomas Rhett. If you don't know who he is, he's a country singer.
The man of our dreams.
And we just like when he sings, it like moves me. Like actually, I love him so much. Sarah, what about you?
I think because I just want to be around people. My favorite concert that I was at was probably at Ultra in Split, and it was, so many good. It was like so many artists playing. I just was so happy. You're just dancing. You're just one with 1,000, 100,000 people, and a lot of good music. Like it's just freeing. So that's my favorite. I love that. Okay, I'm gonna answer. 87. How do you start your morning? I got a new routine, so I'm glad we're doing this.
Please tell us.
I think everyone should get one. Don't, but just if you're into this. I got a sunrise alarm. So now I don't touch my phone in the morning. Sometimes I forget it until like 10:30. And I'm never good at turning my phone on anyways in the morning. So now it's like, you cannot reach me if you need me for hours.
I'll reach you.
Yes, you'll
she just knows, like in her heart, that I'm trying to get. But I do have one of those as well, and it's slowly like mine. The bird. I think we've talked.
You got me onto it.
Yeah, the birds start chirping, and there's nature sounds, and then the light naturally. It's just like the most pleasant way to wake up.
You wake up rested. Here's what I'm gonna say. I got a cheaper one on Amazon for like $60. Oh shit, today's my last day to return it. I'm going to return it and get the more expensive one that's like 100 plus, because the lights are brighter and the sounds are better, and it's just worth it. So I think just go ahead and invest in the more expensive one if you get one. But that's how I start my day, and then I meditate, and it's just like heart open. That's it. How about you, Mara? How do you start it?
I don't know how specific we're gonna get. So I get up, I have water. It's always good to like brush your teeth right away, or just rinse out your mouth just because of plaque and grossness of your mouth during your sleep.
Yes.
Always cold water on my face. I have mantra running 24 hours in my space, so that's already running. Good for your subconscious mind.
Ooh, what mantra?
So it's had the gumende, had
I'm gonna try this.
So that's the prosperity mantra, not specifically for subconscious clearing as well. So that's fine. Really helpful, very helpful. And then I do my practice. So it's I'll do my 11 minutes of Sarabandande. So that's a downward dog cobra for 11 minutes. That just works the entire system, makes you very strong, very strong, really hard. Cat cow, addiction meditation, intelligence meditation. I'll do some prosperity mantra. What else do I do? I'll do some other things. And I'll choose whether I want to do my closing or not, because I find like your day can be a full meditation. So I'll do my opening of my Om Namo Gurdev Namo, but then I'll run everything in between, and maybe at the end of the day, because I've done yoga in between everything, then I'll do my closing sadhana.
Cool.
So it's like you're treating your whole day as a meditation. And then, maybe I'll probably, I don't like eating now, doesn't happen until like maybe like 11:30, just with all the movements and things.
Cool.
And some journaling.
Oh, wow.
Everyone,
hold on to their seats when you hear about mine. Mine really is different every day. I usually have a shower as soon as I wake
You
up.
have a new one though. Make it.
What is it?
Be excited.
Okay,
No.
my alarm goes off at 7:05 with the birds and the lights, whatever. But then I get, this is new because usually I don't like the morning. I have a shower first thing. Sometimes I put music on. I find that helps in the bathroom. Get dressed, get ready for the day. I work from home. But why not spruce yourselves up? What?
No, you're loving this. I'm so proud of you.
I am liking this. And then my husband makes me coffee or tea in the morning, and I have to have like a hot beverage first thing. Oh, I have water. I always am very thirsty, but then I need a hot beverage. And then sometimes I watch the news. This is so not heartfelt like your guys is there. Or sometimes I just start working right away. Sometimes I work out. It's different. It depends on my mood. And that's, for me, the biggest thing is like removing the need to have like something very specific. Because I used to try journaling, do all these different things. Sometimes I didn't want it. So I just do what I want.
Yeah. I like that.
Thanks, Sarah. I really appreciate it.
She's like rooting for you.
You did it.
I think you like. That's why I'm
But I
excited
do really, for anyone else that likes to sit with a cup of coffee and watch the news for 20 minutes.
Do what makes you feel good.
It makes me feel informed to start my day.
Listen.
Anyway, this has been so lovely.
We're so happy. Thank you for coming on with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I like hearing my voice.
Isn't this nice?
Yes.
Our little setup. Thanks to Mark.
The last podcast I did, I didn't have the headphones, so it was a different experience.
Well, we are glad that you're here and get the full shebang. Mark's the prince who sets us up this way.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mariah.
We love this.